Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rise and Shine. This is my co-host, Brendan Field, who owns Rebate along with a lot of other companies on Amazon. And I'm here with like two of my favorite people in the industry. I know I have to say that no matter who's on the show, but like I actually mean it this time that like I love you girls. So we're here with Cassandra Craven, who is kind of the social media queen for Helium. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself more and delve into like what you do. And then we are with Destaney Wishon. I love your name. It sounds like a Disney princess.
Much better than a stripper. It's where I thought you.
Well, I mean, it's a fine line. I can see both, but I didn't want to say strippers.
And we're off to a great start. Here we go.
No, seriously, take this podcast seriously because we're talking about strippers already. It's only like 2 minutes into it, and that's where we're at right now. So,
yes.
She is CEO of Better AMS, right? AMZ. I always go AMS, AMZ. But that was my kind of crappy introduction. So I will let Cassandra and Destaney kind of introduce yourselves a little bit more and kind of talk about how you got into the industry and what it is you do now. And I will go with Destaney first.
Perfect. So, as mentioned, my name is Destaney Wishon, co-founder and CEO of Better AMS. We are an Amazon advertising agency focusing on running Amazon ads. We don't really do anything and everything. We specialize in focusing on scale for typically companies that are doing at least $100,000 a month. We do run DSP as well. Yeah, it's been fun. It's all I've done for 4 years. So if anything happens to Amazon, I am SOL and will need another career, but I'm not going to mention any of those right now. But yeah, it's been really fun. I think I am really excited for this specific Branded by Women presentation that Danny pushed us to speak on because it's the one time I'm not speaking about Amazon ads. I sent him like 3 options and he picked the one that was not about Amazon ads. And I said, holy shit, like I gotta figure this out. So I'm actually speaking on kind of my entrepreneurial journey and how much of success was based on mindset for me. I think it's super easy to pick up a skill set in the digital era. And I think the hard part is actually overcoming your own kind of mental headspace to be successful. So that's what I'm speaking on. And that's my story, kind of.
Awesome. I'm gonna like interrupt everyone and just say I am at my dad's house and my son is around. And usually I would like put them in a cage and hide them, but like,
Don't do with our families, yes.
right. I feel like, especially because we're talking about Branded by Women and everything, you know, dealing with women and the hardships and the stuff they juggle, I can be like, yeah, this is part of it. Is having to deal with kids walking in at the worst moments. So with that being said, Cassandra, you're up.
All right. I'm Cassandra Craven. I am the social media and content manager for Helium 10 Software. My entrepreneurial journey, I started in Hollywood and I started doing all the social media for daytime court shows, divorce court, Judge Alex, paternity court. I'm sure you're all a fan. But that really just springboarded me to dive into social media and kind of immerse myself in all of it. And now I am with Helium 10 and I've met so many wonderful people and I'm part of this community of Amazon sellers, e-commerce entrepreneurs. And I think, as cheesy as this may sound, I think I'm living my best life now because of all the people I know. And I feel so inspired by everyone that I meet and how they're so committed to their business and thriving and they never stop. You know, they're committed to the hustle, if you will. And that's kind of what I'm talking about on Branded by Women, kind of this journey of the things I learned along the way. I call it the Branded by Women true Hollywood story of Cassandra Craven. So I'll be giving all these like little tidbits of how I kind of started in the industry, the difference between like the age gap. You know, I was 21, 22. I was the youngest person in the office, if you believe that, working in production. I was so young. I cannot claim that title anymore though. But, you know, there is that, you know, people were 50, 60 years old and they've been in this industry forever and they're so old school. And it was just like this clash of the titans, if you will. So I talk about stuff like that, stepping out of your comfort zone, you know, exciting stuff.
So are you, both of you, on the mindset first day?
Yes.
You are? Okay, cool. Which is one thing I wanted to kind of delve into. Well, first, just to let our audiences know, because I haven't really introduced it, but this is all kind of promoting Branded by Women, which is a 3-day event that features like amazing women from all over the globe that have, like, when you look at the topics there are, it's just across the spectrum. There's just so many like different topics and so much to extract from it that I'm really excited. And I think that it will be something that no matter where you are in life, no matter what you do, no matter, you know, like where you are in your journey, you can get something from it, you know, like regardless of what the topic is or, you know, what the day is. So before I get into the mindset thing, I did want to ask you, when you ladies go to conferences, right? Like, and you want to learn something, what do you find to be the most valuable content?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm thinking back to like our last, I don't know, Destiny, I don't know if you were there, it was for the Empowering Women's Conference. That was my last conference. What was yours?
I have not been to a single physical conference ever.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, gosh, COVID really messed that up, didn't it?
Pandemic doesn't help, but that aside.
Okay, well, I'll just kick it off and then you can give like maybe a hypothetical if you were there, what you would be looking for. I look for tactical stuff first because that's what I think everyone goes in there, or that's what they're kind of, you know, oh, I'm here to learn. But I think what I end up taking the most value away is when someone can talk to me about both sides of the fence, when they can say, oh, no one believed that I could start this business, no one thought I could do this, or I didn't even know what I was doing. When they add that personal touch, and then also, you know, put in the strategy and how they came to be, if you will, because I think it makes it more more realistic, more obtainable. And I also like when people say they're not perfect, because I think that's boring. I hate when people are like, it was just totally great and I decided to do this and everything was wonderful and now look at me. Like, that's so annoying and boring, and I feel like no one listens to you or learns from you from that, you know? I mean, I am perfect, but everyone else,
That being said,
my journey was great, but you know, other people.
I actually have a shrine of you on my wall that's like perfection. This is what I aim to be.
So, no, but I really mean that. I think I've learned the most from people who tell me they struggled or tell me they had some bumps in the road, because I think there's a lot of, especially with social media and stuff, everyone's so polished and perfect and they looked great doing it and they exercise every day and everything's wonderful. So I like a real story with some strategy behind it.
that was something cool that I felt like we really dove into in Clubhouse yesterday, was how real a lot of people's speaking engagements were. And there was some conversation around maybe women are more open to share these types of things just because we like to communicate our stories and things like that. But I personally talk about kind of anxiety and depression in a little bit of my story. And we were talking about like everything I had to personally overcome. And I completely agree. I think seeing the real behind it and why people came to the conclusions they did, what they had to overcome, makes it that much more relatable.
Agreed.
Yeah, we've done what I think 15 or 16 episodes so far. And when I think back, the best episodes were always the one where the person had a great story. Like they had some challenge they overcame or just some funny series of events that led them to e-commerce. And those were always the best. It was never somebody saying, well, this is the trick that I do to rank my products. That was never the best one. So yeah, definitely human story is a huge part of it.
Tying those two together, I would say just being in this industry, maybe not going to physical conferences, one of the best things I've gotten out of any conference in general is the relationship building. I think that has been just absolutely insane working in the space. No one understands exactly what we're doing most of the time. We're just making internet money somehow. I feel like people don't really get it. So building relationships with like-minded people, even if it is virtual, I've met some incredible people. And I think that's kind of the value I've gotten the most out of it. Because there's been people a year and a half later that have referred us clients or have sent us these different things. And it's just absolutely amazing.
Yep.
So do you ladies feel like with what you were saying about the more personable side of the industry, is that kind of what motivated you to pick the topics that you'll be speaking about in Branded by Women?
I would say Danny pushed me to do that in the best, I mean, in the best way possible. And that's why I love Danny, and not just because, he's promoting us and this is for his conference, but he pushes us to step outside the box and out of our comfort zone. And hey, Kim Ford's coming on.
Yeah.
Do I wait? What should I do? Should we keep going?
What do I do with my hands? Well, like what?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, I'm sorry. I have to join from my car because I had a client I was training from 9 to 10 and I was like, I've got to go.
You are fine. Absolutely fine. I'm glad you could join us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Just to kind of catch you up, and I'll let Cassandra, I'll let you kind of finish your thought, is we were talking about the personable aspect of the industry and how, like, when you can relate to people and their ups and downs and their struggles, it makes their journey and their success that much more like attainable. Like you feel like, oh my God, like I go through the same stuff. Like I can
Yes.
actually, like put myself in your shoes and realize like I can overcome this stuff.
Yep.
So that's kind of what Cassandra was in the middle of timeout. So Cassandra, I'll let you finish, and then Kim, I'll introduce.
Right. Okay. No, definitely. I think, well, you were saying like how Danny, or like, how we decided to do these topics. And I would say, of course, Danny's like, what do you want to talk about? And I go for the tactics every time, because you think, oh, I can teach you 10 ways to be a social media, maven or whatever. And then he's like, what about tapping into kind of more of a personal side? I know. And I think our gut reaction is no. And you're like, I don't know. And from what I've talked to with other people, I think I remember texting everyone being like, I don't know, I can't get started on this because it's almost like it's so different, right? Okay, Destiny, so but now I love it. I'm glad I did it. I'm excited for the presentation, for the session. But yeah, Destiny, it sounds like you had the same thing.
I texted Isabella and I'm like, have you started this? Because I can talk about Amazon ads any day. I can flow on any single topic. But he texted me something like, let's do something other than Amazon ads. I'm like, that's not what I do. I don't know that. And it was just really cool because I've never taken longer than like 24 hours, never taken longer than 2 hours to build a presentation. And this one took me like a solid week and a half because I really wanted to hone in on what I wanted to portray and like the most important parts of my story. So completely relate. Yesterday, it was so funny because everyone was going around the room and it's like, oh yeah, Danny didn't want me to talk about this. He pushed me to talk about this. And I was like, okay, we're all in the same boat. We're definitely being pushed to like give our best in this event. So it was cool. I'm
I
excited.
feel like Danny was like, oh, pick out your topic. And then he's like, no to all of those. I'm just going to tell you what you're going to talk about. Your idea sucks. So no to that. I want to delve more into that, but I just want to give Kim Ford a chance to introduce herself and kind of tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up on Branded by Women.
Sure. I apologize for being late, first of all, and interrupting. So I'm actually newer to the e-commerce space. I've been selling on Amazon for about a year and a half now. So I'm a total noob compared to the rest of you ladies. But what I am is I'm a fitness trainer. I'm a personal trainer and fitness and health coach. And that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years. At one point, I quit my corporate job, which I've been working since I was 18, and went into business for myself because of my passion for health and fitness. And I really got into the niche of helping women, mostly moms, to get in shape, get strong, lose the baby weight, etc. Quick backstory. So I was trying to do that myself. I was like, okay, I have to get in shape for real by like my 38th birthday, I think it was coming up or something like that. And I had 6 months. And in order to hold myself accountable, I made a challenge in a Facebook moms group. And I was like, who wants to join me? So I called it Operation MILF. That was my name for the event, right? And so I had 6 months. I actually got several hundred moms doing it with me. And when it was over, they were like, okay, now what? Now we got to keep going. And at the time I was still working a job. So I realized that I was really onto something and that I was very passionate about it. So I quit my job, I got certified, and I've been working with moms ever since. So I met Danny at SellerCon in 2018-19, and we just really hit it off because, as you guys know, he's very much into improving his health and his fitness and so forth. So we really connected on that level, and also in terms of Amazon, because I'm very quickly trying to grow and scale and so on and so forth. But that's my quick backstory.
Now, were you always into health, or was that like kind of a recently like thing that you realized that?
I've always been into sports, even since, I was a kid, and I really liked exercising. I really liked working out. But I got to probably when I was like 23, like work life just took over and it wasn't a priority.
Right.
So I don't know. When I got pregnant with my first kid, I gained 50 pounds, and I'm 5'1.5". So you can imagine what 50 pounds. I swear I looked like an Oompa Loompa. It was really bad. And if you tune into my presentation, there should be a before and after on there. You'll see I was like, oh my, I don't even know. So I ate everything that there was to eat. And then I was like, this is probably not a good thing. And by this point I was 30, and I, slowly getting back in shape. But when 40 started staring me in the eyeballs, I was like, okay, I have to make a permanent and lasting shift in my mentality and my habits and so forth. And that's kind of what gave me that impetus.
So what are you speaking about at the Branded by Women conference?
I am going into how you can essentially, as a woman, control your weight, like lose weight and be healthy despite age, and what nutrition has to do with hormones and how hormones control your weight. Because women, I don't know if any of you have gone like, hey husband or hey boyfriend, or let's lose weight together, let's do it together, and then after like 2 weeks he's lost 10 pounds and you've lost like 1.5. We have such a disadvantage when it comes to that because of our hormones. They're shifting and fluctuating monthly. Then you have kids, and then maybe you're looking at perimenopause. And it's a never ending situation when it comes to our hormones. So then you add to that poor nutrition or the wrong nutrition, or maybe not enough food in a day. If you just tend not to eat when you should, that all affects your hormones as well. So this situation of like, oh, I'm older, and so my metabolism isn't right, and there is a way through nutrition to really get a harness on that and be at a healthy weight and feel strong and energetic despite what's going on, with your body hormone wise.
Well, and I think that kind of ties into the mindset or mindfulness of the conference, because really in order to be successful you have to be of sound body, mind, and soul, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited because you're the only one talking about fitness, which is, I think, great.
Yeah, it's that. What was that? Sorry.
Oh, and probably something that should be addressed more in the community.
Yeah, it's important. A point that I've made, and it just rings true every time, is that when you're working out or you're on some type of a nutrition program, I don't like to use the word diet because diet is just the food that you eat, but a nutritional program, you're committing yourself, and consistency is key, and you really have to stay the course. And it's so much more of a mental game than it is a physical game. And your body will do anything your mind tells it to do. It's just, if you give up early mentally, then it's game over. But if you push through when it gets really tough, you can absolutely break through that wall. And that spills over, not just physically, it spills over into your personal life and your work life, because you realize, oh shit, I can do that. And it's just me that's holding me back. I've had clients make breakthroughs, with our training sessions, but then text me later like, I realized I'm actually so much more able to do A, B, and C, and it has completely changed, this other area of my life. And for me, as a trainer and as a woman and a mom, it's just so rewarding to hear that. So I think it really does translate over into entrepreneurs because A, we tend to sit a lot and work a lot and not think about the other aspects of our health. But B, it's that consistency and that push through and that mental game.
To circle a little bit back to Cassandra and Destaney, when you guys were talking about your presentations and how you almost had to like come out of your comfort zone in a lot of ways, because like obviously we're experts in certain fields and we can talk about it for days and like we're comfortable there. How did you guys feel like you were kind of divulging personal information about yourself that like was a little uncomfortable for you?
Destaney, would you like to go first?
Again, the pointer is so one.
Yes, I'll just stick with yes in general. Again, just never speaking on the topic. I was really nervous to present it. Like I didn't know how well I would be able to eloquently speak to everything. And then combining it with my actual story, because as Cassandra says, no one sees that part of the thing. They just see what you're doing now. So kind of me personally, I remember literally sitting on the floor of the shower and being like, what am I going to write about? And I got this really awesome notepad that works in the shower. So you can take notes in the shower. It's really cool on Amazon.
Oh my God.
But I was sitting there and I was just like, where do I start this? Like so many things have happened. Like what has been the most impactful in my life that I think I could present to others and actually make a difference? So I had this little notepad. I scratched out all these ideas and then I just kind of started putting together a presentation and figuring out what was the most important. And it was definitely uncomfortable. But after I finished it, I felt the same. I was like, holy crap, I did this. It's amazing. I feel good about it. Thank you, Danny. And that was it.
I know Danny is just like, he's such a motivator. And I had talked with him before too. It's, because I'm also like very much forward thinking. Like, I don't really like to look back on things either. I'm not like a live in the past person. And so you kind of want to make it like, but I'm so happy now. Everything's so great. Why would I want to go to a place where I wasn't happy or things weren't perfect or whatever? Yeah. And that is tough to do. And, of course, like you hear this, you kind of think, oh, well, she worked, just on television sets in Hollywood and all those things like that. And it's like, yeah. And I like cried on my drive homes on the 405, like for hours, like it was awful. Or kind of going into what Kim said, I felt like I wasn't even living my best life. Like I was just working and I'm in traffic and I'm going to bed and doing it over again. And, there was like certain passions there that kept me motivated. But, at the end of the day, it was like, who am I living for? Like a job or myself, like I'm not seeing friends, I'm not seeing family. I'm not even dating someone, my closest relationship is with the 405 freeway. So, but like, again, and I love that Danny pulls that out of us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is this vibe of like, especially in this entrepreneurial community of like, everything's great. Everything's wonderful. I do all the things. I'm good.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like seeing those hardships that get you there. So it was tough to like tap back into it, like looking back, but it also made me really thankful for where I am now. And, that's not my life, and the people that are in it.
And
well,
Kim,
I can just,
well, I was actually going to ask you, with your personal experience and clients, do you find that being more honest about your journey and really getting into the psyche of your clients actually propels more success than if you just treat it like a typical, diet regimen? Or I know you don't like
that. Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say it always helps me as a sophomore, e-commerce entrepreneur to hear stories, and that's so I just back up everything that was just said. But yes, with my clients, I mean, I've been there. A lot of them say, oh, well, you've never actually been overweight, so how can you relate? And I'm like, well, let me show you these pictures. I was definitely there. So, and I went from that to where I am now. And you have to be relatable. If you're trying to help somebody, you have to be relatable. even if you haven't experienced specifically what they're going through, you have to find some point of common reality and work with that, because especially as a trainer, I mean, they're very vulnerable. You know, you're coming to their home or you're meeting them at the gym and they're pushing hard and they're getting uncomfortable and they're in a vulnerable spot. And if you are not a safe person for them, you're not going to go very far in your training career. You're not going to have them as a client for very long, and they're not going to succeed. So I'm always telling the truth to my clients. Absolutely.
Right. So I'm gonna kind of shift gears for a quick second and talk about which Destaney was on. I think Destaney was the only one on the Clubhouse from yesterday when we talked about I think I can't remember, was it Yanni? I can't remember who came up on stage, but and actually this question is more for you, Brendan, because I feel like you've kind of been like on the sidelines just listening to us women like but what was interesting to me is this man came up as we're talking about, you know, all these successful and strong entrepreneurs and women in the industry. He came on and said, is there anything I can do in my own circle and my own life to better the experience for women? Or like, you know, essentially as a female in this industry, what has been your experience? And really my question to you, Brendan, is like, is that something, you know, now that there are a lot more women in this industry, probably from when you started, is that something that you consciously think about? Or, I mean, I'm just curious from a man's point of view, how you perceive it.
Yeah, so I guess it's like hard to talk about because I guess as a guy, like I'm inclined to say that I don't see a lot of bias. If anything, I think because it's kind of a male dominated and also a young industry that like I feel like McLean, since me and you co-host a podcast, when I reach out to people about doing the podcast, they're more interested in doing it because it's a male and a female leading it. So I feel like from what I see, and I'm always careful to say this because I don't want to come across as being unaware, because I'm sure in certain industries and in certain cases, there is definitely a real bias against women in the workplace. But I tend to think that in e-commerce and in specifically the Amazon space that I think a lot of guys are excited to work, you know, with women. So I mean, I don't see it. And speaking for myself, I mean, I would be happy to, you know, hire a female employee or work with, you know, a female in some other capacity. So yeah, I mean, that's my perspective. But, and then I guess one other comment. So, you know, McLean, I have a 3-year-old daughter. So I always look at it through her lens, you know, and I think things are going in the right direction. So I'm sure that when, you know, 20 years from now, when she's, you know, or 30 years, you know, your guys' age, that she'll have tremendous opportunities. And I think it is going in the right direction as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And I do feel like as a man, you kind of have to, I mean, we talked about this earlier, but you kind of have to like tether that rope of like, you don't want to say anything that seems misogynistic or, you know, like unpolitically correct, but like you also want to have, you know, your opinion out there. So I appreciate your honesty in that. And by no means do I think you're wrong or anything like that. I just think I'm always interested to know what a male's perspective is with regards to, you know, the stuff that we're talking about. So I appreciate you being honest about it.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up a little bit, the event is branded by women. The kickoff show is the 22nd, and it is hosted by Athena Savari, Elizabeth Hamilton, and Michelle Venn. And the 3 days.
I don't think that's right.
What?
I think it's Michelle Vinton and Isabella Hamilton, right?
What did I say?
Elizabeth or something?
Did I say Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Did I really?
Made a face and then Destiny made a face.
And I was like, I'm texting her right now.
Like, I don't think
Yeah,
that's
I don't know an Elizabeth in this industry. I definitely meant to say
hard
Isabella.
out. McLean, you had one job, girl.
You messed it up. Now we have to start all over again. It's all ruined.
Going through that, but no.
Love that I caught Destiny. Like, what? Like, I was like, okay, I'm not alone.
No, I'm glad you like called me out on it because otherwise I would just be walking around thinking like I like nailed it.
Go live, and we're just like, okay. But yes, reset.
Yeah, we're fine. So Isabella Hamilton, not
Love
Elizabeth. Yes, and she's like one of my really good friends, so it's even worse that I call her Elizabeth. Although in my defense, I've called her a lot worse things to her face. So like, I don't think she cares what I call her.
that made up for it. That was good.
So the first day is February 24th, and that is mindset, which Cassandra and Destaney will be talking on.
And me.
Are you on mindset?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were in marketing or mastery or but that's awesome. So everyone, I'm in the mastery group, but so we have marketing sorry. Now I messed up the whole we have mindfulness the first day, which is the 24th. On the 25th, we have marketing. And on the 26th, we have mastery. So I'm really excited about the lineup. We have over 40 of like the most talented people in the industry who are talking about an array of information that should help you in your personal life, your business life, really any aspect, and your physical life. So I'm really excited about it. I am curious with you women, is there one particular talk that you're really excited about?
Kim's obviously.
I love that everyone is so polite. They don't want to interrupt each other. So
I think I'm most excited about the mindset aspect.
Yeah.
I think Danny's pushed all of us to really kind of discover something new and talk about something new. And I'm really hyped to hop into like other people's stories and just pieces about their lives.
Yeah, I fully agree. I'm so excited about that because he does have a way of really pulling things out of you.
Yeah. For sure. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be at this event with you ladies. I'm very honored to have been asked, and you guys are going to kick ass. So I'm excited to see all your presentations. Brenda, do you have any other questions for these women?
No, excited to see you guys on the podcast. Or is it podcast or it's a webinar?
It's like a
I don't know
virtual stage, I guess is what you would call it.
Virtual stage. Yeah. All right.
That's a fancy way of calling it. All right, ladies. Well, thank you again for being on. I know you guys all have very busy schedules and your time is valuable. So I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you all later.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.